All right, let's dive in. Today, we've got a story that's about so much more than just sports. It's about how a single, totally disastrous mistake on a baseball field actually became this incredible masterclass in character. We're going to see how one Hall of Famer's response shows us what it really means to be an adult. Everyone who has played baseball has made a mental mistake like this. Now, I want you to hold on to that quote from the legendary Pedro Martinez. We're going to come back to it. But first, you need to understand the moment that sparked it. A moment of just insane pressure and, well, very public failure. Okay, so let's set the scene. It's the MLB National League Division Series. You've got the LA Dodgers squaring off against the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, the stakes could not be any higher, and the whole game is just hanging on by a thread. So on the mound for the Phillies is this young guy, Orion Kerkering. He's just 24 years old, and I want you to picture this. It's the bottom of the inning. There are 2 outs, which is good, but the bases are loaded. Loaded. The entire game, maybe the entire series, is resting right on his shoulders. This is literally the definition of a pressure cooker situation. So what happens next? A ground ball is hit right back to him. It is the most routine play you can imagine, a play he's probably made thousands of times in his life. But instead of just tossing it to first base for that easy final out, he makes this split-second, catastrophic decision. He throws home. The throw is off. The runner slides in safe. And just like that, the game's over. The Phillies lose. All on one simple, shocking error. And you can guess what happened next, right? The reaction was instant, and it was brutal. A complete avalanche of fan disappointment and blame just came crashing down on this young pitcher. It's the kind of thing you'd expect, honestly. But in the middle of all that noise, one voice cut through with a completely different take. And this is where the story gets really interesting. This is where Hall of Fame pitcher Pedro Martinez comes in. Now, as a commentator, he could have easily just piled on, joined that chorus of criticism, but he didn't. Instead, he chose to offer insight, and in doing so, he turned this moment of failure into a really powerful lesson. This is the key right here. This is the big shift. The common, easy reaction is to ask, what did you do wrong? It's a question that's all about finding blame. But Pedro, he reframed the entire conversation. He asked, why did it happen? See the difference? This wasn't about ripping apart the result. It was about understanding the process. You see, Pedro looked right past the bad throw. He diagnosed the root cause. And to him, it wasn't a lack of talent. It was a gap in preparation. He pointed to a lack of deep focus on the tiniest details of the game and a missing mental habit of running through every single possible scenario before it ever happens. For Pedro, this wasn't about a bad player. It was a teachable moment about being mentally ready. But here's the thing. Pedro didn't just stop with the technical X's and O's analysis. No, he went deeper. He addressed the human being who was standing in the middle of this absolute firestorm, and he did it with just profound empathy. And that brings us right back to that quote we started with. When Pedro said everyone who has played baseball has made a mental mistake like this, he wasn't just giving the guy a pat on the back. He was giving him dignity. He was saying, you're not the villain here. You're a colleague, a fellow professional, and we're going to help you grow from this. That one sentence wasn't just comfort, it was fuel. It was the courage that young player needed to even think about getting back up. And believe it or not, he wasn't done. He then brilliantly zoomed out, expanding the lesson beyond just the player on the field. He basically challenged everyone watching, from the fans in the stands to the teams front office, to see their part in this whole thing. He laid out a really clear call to action. To the fans, he essentially said, hey, choose understanding instead of just piling on with blame. And to the team and the coaches, his message was even sharper. Your job isn't just about teaching mechanics. You have a massive responsibility for mental mentoring, for preparing these players for the incredible psychological pressure of this game. And that right there, that is what an adult perspective looks like. It's about taking one person's failure and expanding it into a whole community's responsibility. The message is pretty clear. This isn't just on the player. It's on all of us. So when you put all these pieces together, what do you get? Well, this whole story, which started with one bad throw, becomes this amazing lesson in what you could call the dignity of adulthood. Think about it. True adulthood isn't about jumping on someone's mistake to make yourself feel superior or smarter. It's about stepping in and helping turn that mistake into something valuable, a lesson that actually helps everyone grow. Pedro Martinez didn't just analyze a baseball play, he modeled this for millions of people to see. So it all comes down to this. The next time you see someone fail, at work, in your family, anywhere, what's your move going to be? Are you going to be the one who points the finger? Or are you going to be the one who asks why, offers a little dignity, and helps turn a mistake into a lesson for the whole group? You know, this story leaves us with a pretty simple but powerful question. What kind of adults are you going to be?